Welcome to the Steve and Mead Show. I'm Steve, and this is my friend Mike. And today we saw Ong Bak to the Beginning.
Well, Ong Bak 2 is a prequel. Takes place sometime in ancient Thailand. Story is basically about a young prince who is about to be assassinated, but one of the guardsmen gets away with him. The guardsman gets killed. The boy gets picked up by slavers, and he is adopted by a guild of assassins.
I think actually they were bandits.
Right. They were like a Robin Hood kind of thing.
Yeah. One thing I thought was kind of different about this movie. Did you see the first one?
I did.
Okay. I don't see what this has to do with the original movie at all in any way, but maybe I'm wrong.
It takes place in Thailand.
Yeah, that's about it.
And there's Muay Thai kickboxing.
That's something that I was going to mention. He's there with all these bandits, but apparently they all know all these kinds of martial arts. You know, you got a samurai there in Thailand. You've got this African guy using God knows what kind of martial arts that was supposed to be. And I thought that was a little...
The leader was like Arabic or something?
Something like that. Yeah, and, you know, as I said, he fights samurai, he fights ninjas, you know, he does a little drunken master style for a second there. He fights a vampire for crying out loud.
Vampire?
Yeah, remember, like, it tests your mind or something.
Oh, yeah.
In the cave, and this bitch has face. She's a vampire. And, you know, he's fighting all these ninjas. Where do they get ninjas? They got an army of ninjas for crying out loud.
Where'd the bird woman come from?
You know, that was weird, and it seemed to me that was... He crashes this celebration in honor of Garuda, some bird god. And, you know, maybe that was Garuda coming to kick his ass for crashing his party. I don't know. That was weird. So there's all kinds of strangeness in this movie. I wish he would just stick to what he does. He's got this kick-ass fighting style that, you know, he typically uses in his movies. But in this one, you know, you got a lot of weapons-based fighting in this one. Which is cool, but it's not. I don't think he's as good with that as he is with his hand-to-hand stuff. You know, I just think he's more exciting when he's fighting hand-to-hand.
I was a little disappointed about the character development. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's this really great backstory involving him as a little kid with a girl.
It's a great backstory. That was like the most boring thing.
You gotta develop the character to get some kind of sympathy. What really sucked about it was that you didn't really get to see where she's been, how she's been. You know, you see her do some traditional Thai dance.
They took like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then he goes in, he tries to kill the guy, he looks at her, and he leaves, and you never see her again.
Yeah, that was kind of the only reason. I mean, it was. I kind of suspected when I first saw her that was her, and the only reason that you know it was her is because she's got the bracelet thing.
Yeah.
And then she's just there, and then she's gone. What's the point of that? Of course, this movie annoyingly ends on a cliffhanger. So, I don't know, maybe you have to wait till Ong Bak 3, the ending, to find out what happens with this movie.
I like to think that's just the end.
No, because they're like, if you clap your hands and use your mind to feel, you know, if you sit there and say, we believe in Tony Jaa, we believe in Tony, over and over again, then he might be able to make it through.
Okay, somebody clearly saw Peter Pan in the theater. If you believe in fairies, clap your hands.
Yeah, exactly. That's ridiculous. So I thought the story in this movie, I mean, Tony Jaa movies are usually not heavily story-driven. And this is certainly no exception to that rule because the story was complete throwaway. Which is, you know, it took a long time for this movie to finally get to some decent action. I feel like we went halfway through the movie before we got our first real good fighting scene. And there are only 2 fight scenes in this movie that I think are really worth watching. Most of it is
Towards the
not
end?
real exciting. Yeah, well, there's the ending fight, and then there's the one where he's fighting the slavers. Those two fights were pretty cool. But for the most of it, it's worthless. The whole movie, other than those two scenes, worthless. One thing that just got to me very quickly is the fact that apparently nobody can keep food in their mouth. They're constantly dribbling down their chin.
I think that one guy was throwing up.
But they do it over and over again. It's like there's a part when, they're watching, him as a kid fighting crocodiles, and the guy's just like drooling all over himself. They do it over and over again. I can accept the fact that people had bad teeth back then, but seriously, people were able to swallow their food. As I said, the story is no good, and there isn't that much fighting in this movie. Not much good fighting anyway. So I would have to give this movie a D. Most of the movie is worthless, as I said, but there are a couple of scenes that are actually pretty exciting with the fighting. And that's why people go to see this movie, Tony Jaa movies anyway. They go for the fighting. They don't go for the story or anything else. So
the gripping plot.
Yeah, let's
character development.
Set aside any pretext at stories and just get to the fighting already.
I have to agree. I have to give it a D. I mean, yeah, the fight scenes were good. Stunts were incredible, but that's pretty much it. Definitely, if you and your friends are into the whole martial arts movie thing, then yeah, definitely see it.
We believe in Tony.